back, baby. It's midweek. We're with Max. It's Midweek with Max. I am Rick, your community manager at Hemi. And without any long spiel, I will turn it over to Phil Gomes and Maxwell Sanchez.
Cool. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another week. And on the tech side, just a lot of work under the hood getting ready for mainnet. We've been internally testing the final version of the Bitcoin tunnel contracts on testnet, doing some QA with the user interface, and then we're looking to get that opened up to everyone soon. We'll also add some points to Absinthe for testing out Bitcoin tunneling, so that will be fun. For pot mining right now, BFG is sort of backup, but not fully scaled out. So if you are trying to run a pop miner, you can go ahead and try. There are pop transactions going through, but we're still in the process of scaling that back up after some infrastructure stuff. So what we are going to do is, for anyone who was pop mining in the week before this outage, we're going to credit you for this week for basically the equivalent of points that you earned in the previous week. So if the week before this outage you did X amount of pop mining, you'll get credited as if you did that amount of pop mining this week anytime there was BFG downtime. So we're going to do that. And then, yeah, a lot of just stuff moving towards mainnet. People have been poking around and finding some of the mainnet artifacts that have been made public but not publicized. Again, there's no benefit to interacting with mainnet prior to the actual mainnet launch. Those are just things that we have to do to get the network up and usable for partners to start deploying on, and for people to start, setting up for being able to have liquidity for cross-chain assets for things like Stargate and Layer 0. So that is all in progress, going smooth. We've had a lot of good energy with partners getting deployed and set up, and a lot of them are ready for our mainnet activation. Still a lot of partners to onboard, and we're just chunking through all of that. And yeah, nothing else too new on the tech side, just a lot of optimizations and mainnet preparation, security stuff, infrastructure improvements. We also did do a new release of OpGeth, which fixes a edge case on Bitcoin testnet. Basically, Bitcoin testnet, due to the difficulty bomb, you can get in a situation where you have 2 or 3 or however many network participants who are each building their own long reorg of the chain for free because they can wait 20 minutes and mine the difficulty 1 block. And so you get these really weird chain split scenarios. And so while obviously not something that would happen in mainnet or be a problem in mainnet at all, we did get a fix for that in for testnet. And we got that deployed. And that's part of why pop mining was down, is we needed to move infrastructure over to new nodes and resync other nodes. So once those are back up, BFG should be back to full performance for pop mining. But in the meantime, we have gotten that fix deployed, and everything there is looking good. So any RPC issues, BFG issues that you've been having with testnet, those should be resolved shortly, either by end of day today or possibly early tomorrow, depending on how long it takes for our infrastructure to finish resyncing. So I think that's it from my side. I'll hand it over to Phil for marketing updates.
Oh, now I can't find the mute button. There we are. Okay, great. Where to even begin? Let me start with a shout out to our biz dev team. As you've heard me say in the past, we've been very proud of the fact that since our testnet launch, we have announced a new partner on an average of about once every 3.5 working days. Sat down with our biz dev team, and essentially we've ramped those announcements up to 1 a day, because literally that is the only way we could keep up. So we were initially worried about, are we putting too much out there too soon, et cetera, et cetera. And the more we thought about it, the more we looked at the traction, the more we looked at the fact that these companies are definitely picking up what we're putting down. We decided to up that to 1 a day. So you're going to see a lot more activity on our socials, a lot more partnering going on. And of course, if we ask our community to, as part of the community, help us amplify and promote all of these really great wins. And those are only the wins that I can talk about, right? There's certainly enough of them where we got to keep quiet on them for a while, but the momentum has been incredibly strong. I promise that this week a report by Reflexivity Research will be coming out, and that appears to be on track, so keep an eye on it. You can get it by subscribing to Reflexivity Research or the CoinMarketCap newsletter, either way, but you'll be able to receive that. On the conference front, we are assembling our team for Consensus Hong Kong and ETH Denver and Toronto, Consensus Toronto, that is. So if you happen to be in any one of those regions, let us know, because we'd love to meet a lot of you in person. I mean, some of you have, frankly, become really great friends over the last several months, and it's just one of the strange realities of our space that the chances of us are meeting in real life are actually pretty slim unless we work really hard at it. So let me know if you're going to be in or around any of those locales, and we'll figure out a way for you to meet a member of the team. While we're on the partnering topic, some eagle-eyed folks out there have noticed that we've got a Spaces tomorrow with Layer Bank and Layer Zero called When Worlds Collide, and it's going to be about cross-chain DeFi. So it's going to involve our own Maxwell Sanchez here. You heard me talk about our biz dev and growth team quite a bit. So if you want to meet Taylor Click, he's Crypto Sooners on Twitter, owing to his Oklahoma University fandom. So definitely give him a follow and check us out. The event's going to take place 11 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time tomorrow, Wednesday the 22nd. And we want you all to be there and show up and tell your friends and all that jazz. So be sure that you support our partners as well, because of course they have been absolutely amazing to us. And then with that, sort of a final note, been talking a lot with our KOL partners, launch partners, media partners, etc. And so we're making sure that everything's ready for when we announce whatever we want to announce. So all I can say for that is stay tuned. And with that, I think Rick, we can get to the Q&A. Yeah.
That sounds good. I just wanted to give a super brief community update. I know that within Discord and on our socials, we've seen a lot of talk about wanting more roles. I do just want to say that our community moderators are working hard behind the scenes with the Hemi team, and some pretty cool things are in the works. It's a TBD for now. We don't have like a proper launch date, but I can tell the entire Hemi community that things are happening, and it's going to be pretty cool when it does. And now with that, we can turn it right over to questions. So, oh, thank God for Joshua. He's provided a list so I don't have to bounce between 30 different channels. All right, we'll start at the top. Does Hemi plan to partner with Pendle so users with LW liquidity can do some strategies trades to perform better?
Nothing concrete to announce yet, but we are definitely interested in getting the Pendles of the world onboarded. There's a lot of cool things you can do with PT tokens. Potentially, there's some cool yield opportunities. So definitely stay tuned on that one, but nothing public yet.
Solid. All right, moving on. It was mentioned TGE won't be at mainnet launch. Is Hemi not the gas token? How will people use mainnet without a Hemi token?
Good question. So Hemi will not be the only gas token of the network. So when the Hemi token does launch, we will add an option to use that as the gas token, and you'll basically get a gas refund or rebate or discount, however you want to look at it. But for usability, Ethereum is the native gas token of the protocol. And so in order to, just like on testnet, you pay gas fees using Sepulveda ETH, on mainnet, you'll pay gas fees using Ethereum. and then later have the option to pay gas fees and basically get a discount by paying in Hemi tokens.
All right, rock and roll, buckaroos. Okay, here is a reoccurring question. So this will actually take care of a few. Is mainnet still on track for the end of January, or will it take longer?
Probably not end of January. We want to get some other partners onboarded, which is probably going to take a little bit longer. So no concrete date that we're announcing yet, but targeting first half of February at this point. And most of that is to get partners onboarded and have a more interesting ecosystem of stuff to do on day one, which we think will be important for capturing all of that day one interest and energy, rather than people coming and having to get them to come back 2 weeks later when some other cool protocols launch. So being delayed,
And
but
actually,
for good reason.
That's an excellent reason, and I'll add to that. I'm not sure. I don't know whether I told this story in an earlier session, but a while back, you remember the investors that we announced on September 18th, the investors in our seed round, and during a meeting with several of them, they wanted to, of course, know what the marketing plan was. And I will tell you that universally, the thing that they were most intrigued by, the thing that they were most impressed by, was that we will be a chain that at mainnet actually has stuff for people to do. And that 3 investors that I spoke to said that back to me. I think that was really, really important. And I know that there's, and certainly I see it on Twitter, that some people have expressed frustration. It's like, okay, there's been this mainnet date and that mainnet date, and we've always communicated it as target dates, number one, but number two, you have to think of what this is all in service of. And it's in service of making sure that when we launch, that there is the maximum amount of activities that you can, that you can do on our network from day one. And a lot of that is because you're dealing with human beings and contracts and holidays and things like that. But the energy is most certainly there. Let me tell you, my inbox and my Telegram chats are absolutely evidence of this. But to amplify what Max said just now, all of this is in service of the fact that we are building a network that is usable from the jump, rather than putting out there a bunch of promises and what is essentially what I see in a lot of other chains, a expensive economic simulator of some kind, right? So that's a very, very important context, and it just comes down to that when we go mainnet, we want just the maximum amount of activity possible on our network.
Yeah. And to paraphrase John Greenwood, when Hemi hits mainnet, it's going to be a mainnet, not a midnet. So there'll be a lot to do.
We joke about midnet a lot, actually, over here at Hemi HQ. So,
all right. Will the reward be given according to points, as in more points means more reward when rewards became available? And I'm assuming this is in regards to at mainnet.
Yep. So the way points are going to work for the points program is there's no leaderboard / cutoff. Some projects do a thing where everyone earns points, but only the top, X number of people get rewards for those points. On Hemi, it will be a point's a point. If you have 1 point, you'll get 1/10 of what somebody with 10 points gets. So no cutoff. Any amount of points will be eligible. But there will be a difference in points between seasons. So points that you earn in testnet are not necessarily equivalent in rewards to points that will be earned in mainnet season 1 or mainnet season 2. So, but within a season, points are points. and rewards will purely be based on the number of points you earned. In future seasons, we may do a mechanic, this is still TBD, around participants in earlier rounds getting some sort of multiplier or bonus. So that could either be maybe they just get a starting position of points in the next season, or it could be something like at rewards time they get an extra, few percent of rewards for their testnet season participation with mainnet points or something. None of that's finalized or guaranteed, but within the context of a season, points are equivalent directly to the reward that'll be claimable, obviously subject to anti-Sybil mechanisms.
All right, I'm gonna jump ahead super quick, but then I'm gonna go back in the order that I see, just because I see Mr. Charleston in the audience, and this is a question regarding Shasha, who is also in the audience, which is kind of hilarious. What kind of jobs will Hemi use Shasha 256 for? I'm not sure who wants to handle this one, but it's a good question.
It's probably a good one for...
Can somebody give Ryan the mic? Moderator, can you give Ryan the mic? Or Ryan, can you request it?
Yeah, Ryan, do you mind raising your hand?
All right, everybody, this is Ryan Charleston, who's on the marketing team and is the creator of Shasha. So Ryan, go for it.
Yeah, so Shasha hasn't been formally introduced to the community yet, but it's something I've been working on for a couple months. Still a work in progress, but as of right now, the main focus is obviously everything we're doing for mainnet. And then the idea is that, at least initially, I think she could serve as a 24/7 support agent inside of Discord. So that's one thing I'd like to tackle and explore. There may be some hurdles with, kind of looking at privacy policy and making sure that we're abiding by that and, handling the data that she ingests, whether it be from internal, external databases, APIs, conversations and data that's, flowing through Discord. But yeah, I think initially she could, in addition to what she's already doing, having conversations autonomously on Twitter, she can also serve as a support agent inside Discord. I think that would help provide a lot of insights, real-time, 24/7, when some of our mods or team members aren't available. So that should kind of help there. Beyond that, there's a lot of things we can do. So it's just a kind of a blank canvas and something I'm really excited about. So yeah, hope that answered the question.
And might I say, Ryan, bonus points for the name.
Yeah, yeah, it has to be a little bit geeky, nerdy, tied to some component of the technology that we're building. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Ryan. All right, Max, regarding the absinthe leaderboard, if referred users have not completed Deimos verification, will those referred users count towards points or not?
For Deimos referred users, I believe points will be credited based on the actual downstream Deimos verified points. So if you referred a bunch of Sybils, basically you wouldn't get rewarded for that. But if you referred a bunch of real people who perform verification and prove they're unique, you'd get your downstream points allocation from them. So I think it's going to be based on Deimos. I'll have to double check with John Greenwood, but that's, I think that mechanic will be based around all downstream proof of humanity verified users. Otherwise, you could basically work around the Sybil system by referring a bunch of Sybils, and maybe you don't get the actual points of those Sybils, but you get them through referrals, which would not be in the spirit of what we're trying to do.
Sounds good. Hope that answered your question. Moving on to a little hatchling question. Will the Hemi hatchlings NFT be available on OpenSea when mainnet comes?
Good question. I'm not sure what the NFT plans are. I mean, I think OpenSea is basically just permissionless listing, and we are working on getting NFT markets on Hemi mainnet. So presumably those NFTs, just being NFTs, would be tradable on a permissionless NFT marketplace. But I'm not sure if there's any exact plans to do anything beyond just having NFT markets available and being able to trade any NFT, which of course would include the Hemi hatchlings. So stay tuned for that. I don't know, Phil, if you have any other insights on the NFT side.
Only that, yeah, as you mentioned, that when I talk about things that you can do on day one, NFT marketplaces is a big part of it. And as a matter of fact, we're planning to have at least one launch natively on Hemi, which is also very exciting. But other than that, stay tuned, because I know that a number of folks in the community have approached me and said that their ownership of a Hemi hatchling is proof of their OG status. And number one, I absolutely agree. And number two, I mean, in terms of what the future holds, who knows? But what I do know is that again, part of that day one is going to be an NFT marketplace on Hemi.
All right. I believe the community gave a muted hell yeah to that. How many % of the absinthe points are from users who have completed Deimos verification?
That's a good question. I don't have an exact number on the percentage, but we've had close to 80,000 people verify with Deimos so far. So that definitely represents a sizable chunk of the testnet activity. But I'm not sure whether that's 20% or 30%. But I don't know if John Greenwood, if he's around, if he has any insights on that. But got a great amount of energy from Deimos, lots of verified people. So there are lots of testnet users by number who have done the Deimos verification, proved their proof of uniqueness, how that correlates to that 80,000. If there are 80,000 users with less points than average or more, I don't have the statistics for that, but it is a good question.
All right. Is pop mining going to return on testnet prior to the release of mainnet, or is pop mining on testnet complete?
Pop mining will return. It's down for some infrastructure stuff. It's technically back up, but not scaled out. So you can go ahead and try to run a pop miner and it'll connect, but you may still get some errors trying to send Bitcoin transactions or whatnot. But we are seeing some transactions go through. There's just a block that was almost filled with them. So testnet pop mining will come back. It is sort of back in some sense. And what we're going to do for the points is, for the downtime we had, we're basically going to take people's average earnings over the week prior to the downtime and give them the equivalent points during any of the downtime that they would have earned based on their past week of performance. So if you were pop mining before any downtime, you'll be credited as if you had kept mining as usual during any downtime.
All right. Here is a question that has been reoccurring, and I have to ask it because I would be remiss not to. But at this time, can you give more details on progress related to Veriblock? And that's from our friend Poison.
Unfortunately, can't give any more details than I've already given, but it is coming together, and there will be something announced probably very soon. So stay tuned, but no, nothing additional to announce at the moment.
All right. Will staking VUSD Hemi after mainnet, then after TGE, be retroactive? That is the question. Yes, that is the question. I will leave it at that.
Not quite sure what they're asking, but I'll just explain the VUSD points mechanics. Maybe that'll clear it up. So right now, people can go and liquidity mine VUSD on 2 of the sushi pools on Ethereum mainnet and earn points as part of the Hemi testnet season for doing so. Any points that you earn for that will be part of the testnet season collectively alongside all the points for all the other testnet tasks. When we start the mainnet point season, that will have obviously different tasks. They'll all be mainnet centric. VUSD staking or liquidity mining will be a part of that. But those points that you earn once mainnet season 1 launches for VUSD staking or liquidity mining will be then points in the mainnet season. So anything you do now, you get testnet points for it, and those points are one-to-one equivalent to any other testnet point for any other task. And then with mainnet, same thing will apply, but it'll be part of a different bucket. So that's to say the quote unquote value of those points for doing VUSD staking could be different between the seasons. We're not going to be, I don't believe we're going to be doing anything to equalize those. It's basically going to be, you can do it now as kind of an early adopter of the VUSD liquidity mining on Ethereum. You can earn testnet points for it. And then when we launch mainnet season 1, you'll be able to do stuff with VUSD in the Hemi ecosystem, which will be rewarded. And we'll probably continue to incentivize liquidity on Ethereum as well as part of mainnet season 1. But if you're doing it now, you're getting testnet points. If you keep doing it, when mainnet launches, you'll be getting mainnet season 1 points. And the mechanics and the point rewards when we transition to mainnet may be different, and they're also part of a different pile.
Awesome. Thank you for that explainer. I know there was a lot of, not necessarily confusion, but there were certainly a lot of questions regarding that. So hopefully that cleared up a lot of the community's questions. Moving on, Hemi announced a partnership with the IDO platform. I hope I'm saying that right, IDO. Will Hemi conduct an IDO sale of tokens?
Nothing to announce on that front yet, and nothing's finalized. The partnership is more around giving that tool to the community. So part of the goal of Hemi as an infrastructure play is basically make it easy to launch tokens in a Bitcoin and Ethereum compatible way. And so having a IDO platform for other projects to launch stuff on helps with that, helps with launching a token, and then we'll be post mainnet at some point launching our bidirectional Ethereum tunnel, which will let you take Hemi native assets into the Ethereum ecosystem. And so the goal there is to build Hemi as basically this, the no-brainer choice for where to launch a token, because you have access to Bitcoin and Ethereum liquidity. You have essentially native token access to the entire Ethereum ecosystem through that bidirectional tunnel. And then in the future, we can also do things that can tokenize that asset onto Bitcoin as well. So you could, package your Hemi native token in, say, Ordinal's NFT and move it around on the Bitcoin network, and then bring it back as a bearer bond and redeem the native token back to Hemi. So the IDO platform is the first step in that grander vision of Hemi as a token launch platform, but nothing specific to the Hemi token related to that platform or any IDO as finalized or agreed to or worth announcing.
Sounds good. As far as submitted written questions, there were certainly a lot of overlaps in regards to mainnet, TGE, and things of that nature, which you addressed. I do see 2 hands up. I'm not sure if you gentlemen would like a live question, but that is an option. Guys. Looks like the hands went down. Okay. That actually, I believe, is a wrap. Oh, no. Here we go. Sorry, they just came in. Will Hemi do a public sale of Hemi tokens?
Nothing to announce at the moment. So stay tuned on any sort of public sale of any sort, but nothing to announce and nothing finalized by any means.
All right. You had addressed I want to double check on this. I know we just covered this, but this might be more specific, and I apologize if it has been covered. But does acquiring VUSD have any kind of Hemi points related to it?
Not acquiring it, just acquiring it, but if you acquire it and then liquidity mine in the sushi pools on Ethereum, you can get Hemi testnet points for it.
All right. And again, I know we covered this. I believe the answer is yes. But will there be any NFTs? I think that was a yes, and both yourself and Phil covered that.
Yep. Yeah, there will be NFTs, NFT marketplace, or marketplaces, I believe. And then as for whether there's any new Hemi branded NFTs, we'll see. That's still TBD, but we will do something interesting around the Hemi hatchlings in some way.
All right. And this actually appears to be the final question thus far. Will there be any focus on the proportion of the mainnet allocation and the test network allocation?
Yes. So as far as rewards distribution based on the seasons, basically the way the points program works is it's going to be broken up into seasons. So right now we're in testnet season. There will only be one testnet season that's going to end soon with mainnet. Then in mainnet we'll have several seasons. Season 1, season 2, they'll focus on different things that are relevant to different stages of growing a network. So, initially a lot of focus on liquidity and dexes, lending protocols, things of that nature. And then perhaps, season 2 would focus more on, community launched apps, things that people are building on Hemi that we can incentivize and drive traffic to, even if they're not necessarily financial applications. But each season mechanically is a separate point system and receives a separate reward allocation. So testnet will have a different total pie that's split amongst all the proof of humanity verified testnet users versus mainnet, mainnet season 1, which would be out of a different pool of rewards. And so those will be balanced. The actual size of those pies will be based on a couple of factors. And usually teams do what we're doing, which is deciding on that allocation retroactively with full knowledge of how many people actually participated. And then obviously for the mainnet seasons, how much economic activity was actually created. So we wouldn't launch, mainnet season 1 and say you're getting, all points combined will split this percentage of the network, because we could have one person show up and do liquidity mining with $1, or we could have 1,000 people each show up with $1 million, right? You just don't know what activity you're going to get, so you don't want to overpay or underpay for it. So the testnet season allocation will be based on how many total users do proof of humanity verification and what their total points allocation is, and how that basically converts into the on-chain activity we were trying to incentivize. And then mainnet season 1, the points allocation will be based largely on the liquidity and economic activity that was created as part of that season. But they will be different piles, and they will be, at least for testnet, it will be announced after the end of the testnet point season.
Awesome. My associate, Joshua, has alerted me there's one more question being currently written. But in the interest of not having dead air, I'll use this time to thank our helpers and moderators, Anubis, Ajit, Alex, Avi, the intern, creator, Foxstar, Funky, Hadu, Koki, Lyco, No Tears, Yahoos, YYG, and what the hell, we'll throw Emmett and Shasha in there because, YOLO and all. Just waiting on this final question, but if there's anything else you gentlemen want to cover.
We'll just mention, I saw some questions, not sure if it's part of the AMA, but around if doing anything around mainnet is something that people should be doing at this point, or there's any rewards for it or whatever. Technically, it's a permissionless blockchain, so we can't stop you, but there's no benefit, no points, no rewards, no incentives for anything that's done on mainnet prior to the mainnet launch. And being that it's not a public mainnet yet, we're reserving the right to change things as we need. RPCs may change, stuff may disappear or reappear or move URLs or whatever. So it's a construction site, be careful. And we recommend nobody do anything with real assets on mainnet. There's absolutely no incentives or no benefit anyone will get from doing so.
And just so that clip is not taken out of context, he means right now,
not
right
now,
an actual mainnet launch.
Yes, prior to the public mainnet launch. Until we launch mainnet publicly, there are no incentives, rewards, or reason to do anything on the mainnet network.
My spider sense
deploying contracts.
Okay, Perfect. I was like, wait a minute, ding ding, gotta disclaimer this. All right, this question is still being written, so I'm guessing it's either going to be like really in depth or it's going to say when mainnet. I'm willing to take bets on this. Phil, anything else from
that's what Hemi needs, a prediction market.
There you go.
Yeah,
we actually should. I don't think we have. I don't know if we have anyone in the pipeline for that. That's a good one to add to the list.
I love everything about them. I love everything that it says about the wisdom of crowds and the fact that when you put your own money on something, that your predictions tend to be more accurate. At the same time, if anybody's ever seen the movie The Deadpool by Dirty Harry, right? Or not by, but the last in the Dirty Harry series. You kind of wonder.
Sorry, Phil. Is that the one with the remote control cars?
Yeah, and Guns N' Roses.
Yes.
And Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey plays the Axl Rose character. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that kind of prediction. I don't know. It's something that's really popular, and it's something that is spinning off more accurate data and accurate predictions. So a multi-chain prediction market would be very, very interesting, I think.
The intern just messaged me and said, I have crystal ball. That is not the kind of predictions he's talking about, but I appreciate you. Go back to tweeting, please. Okay, here's a question for you. Any plans for a second round of funding?
Nothing to announce yet, but stay tuned on that. Right. So it's not a very compelling answer, but stay tuned.
Right. A lot of people in the community are asking questions about how the final math works if you have one main wallet tied to 10-point wallets.
Good question. Yeah, so the way this is going to work is essentially think of it high level as each unique person is eligible to earn up to the total number of points that any one address could earn as part of the points program. So for example, if there's 2,000 points a day you could earn for doing swaps and minting a capsule, the max that any person who does proof of humanity verification will be able to claim is 2,000 points from those tasks earned in that day. And so if you're splitting your tasks across multiple addresses, that's fine. You'll be able to link them all together, but we're basically going to deduplicate points that are earned based on what the maximum is you could have earned had you done all those tasks on one address in each of those days. So it's fine if you're doing pop mining on one address and you're doing swaps on another, and hell, you mentioned a capsule on a third. You'll be able to link all those. They'll all be added together, but they will be deduplicated. So you can't game the system and get more points than a unique individual should have been able to if they were just using one address. But if you are using that for security or easy use, or it's easier to manage several different wallets that are doing different things, that's perfectly fine. You'll be able to link them together under that single proof of humanity verification that you do.
All right. I have two closing questions that just came in, so we'll leave these as the last two. I feel like Max can do a pretty good deep dive just from knowing him and seeing the questions. I'm a node runner, not a testnet user. I have 10 VPS, and I've been running CLI miner for 4 months, and a single VPS has 3,000 plus keystones. How should I do Deimos verification for 10 VPS? Or should I connect all VPS into the primary wallet? If I connect all my VPS into the primary wallet, how will that be allocated?
Good question. So each unique individual human is only eligible to claim the maximum amount of pop points that you could have earned with a single wallet. So being that you ran 10, it's possible that some of them, that collectively they mined enough keystones to equal the total maximum amount of points that you could have earned as an individual in one day, but maybe each VPS mined a portion of that. And so you may still get benefit from that. But the purpose of testnet with proof of humanity is an anti-Sybil mechanism. So anyone who an individual who ran multiple pop miners, we're going to add up all of the activity of their pop miners, subject to the limits that a single person is eligible to earn in a given day. There will also be a small allocation for, I forgot exactly what we called it, but basically the load testing bounty. So for people who did a lot of activity above and beyond what a single individual could do, you will get a very small allocation for basically creating load and helping us load test the Hemi network, our infrastructure, the pop miner, etc. But the vast majority of points will be distributed to Deimos users who are de-Sybiled, which means, again, points across all tasks, whether that's pop mining or swapping or creating capsules or tunneling back during open season or whatever. Those are all subject to the per person per day limits with your Deimos verification for the points you'll actually be able to claim rewards for.
Awesome. And to close out the questions, at this point, can you share what percentage of Hemi token allocation is going to be reserved for the testnet user community?
That has not yet been finalized, so nothing to announce there, but stay tuned. We'll be putting out more tokenomics stuff in the relatively near future.
All right, killer. Well, that brings us to the close of the question portion of the session, which is usually the end of the session. All right, I lied. I just lied. There's one more. How can a pop miner complete the Deimos verification if you are not using Absinthe? And this is the last one, I promise.
You can do the Deimos verification without having to be onboarded onto Absinthe. I'm not sure on the mechanics of the how the points claim is going to work. You may need to sign up with Absinthe and link your address to an Absinthe account to do the points claim. But I'm not 100% sure. That'd be a better question for John Greenwood. But short answer, Deimos itself, you don't need Absinthe necessarily for, but you may need that Absinthe account connected to do the actual redemption process. So good question. I think that's something I'd have to kick over to John Greenwood.
All right. And that is the real end of questions this time, just keeping everyone on your toes. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Max and Phil. But yeah, I'm Rick, your community manager. I just want to thank all the amigos and amigas for turning out as usual, keeping Midweek with Max awesome. And thanks, peeps.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone, for showing up. Good to see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of exciting stuff in progress. So looking forward to launching mainnet shortly, getting a bunch of protocols and volume and TVL activated, and it's going to be exciting. These next few weeks are definitely going to be interesting.
Ditto. I just want to remind everybody, please join us tomorrow for our Spaces AMA with layers both bank and zero, and also to keep an eye out on our news feed and make sure you're letting everybody know what we're up to.
Yeah, with that, we'll be posting that link shortly in Discord so everyone has access to it. Again, that is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that, yeah, for all things Hemi, follow Hemi on all the socials. Follow that Hemi intern for some Hemi news and whatever other garbled nonsense he comes up with. And yeah, we'll see you around. Thanks all.
Awesome.
Ciao,
Thanks,
again.
everyone.